We have a great show, but before we continue, there are a few housekeeping rules I'm implementing to keep the Oscars running smoothly. Okay. What are you wearing?
What are you doing right now?
I'm asking you what you're wearing.
Nobody even thought about what I was wearing till you brought it up!
A real pain.
It began with a laugh, but ended in a storm. During his post-Oscar segment, Conan O'Brien delivered a joke that didn't just land, it detonated. Known for his dry wit and sharp industry digs, Conan raised a single eyebrow and asked the question that froze Hollywood. Ever see someone show up to the Oscars like they're the main character when they weren't even on the call sheet? The crowd erupted in laughter, yet everyone knew exactly who he meant. No name needed. Within hours, the internet exploded. Fan forums dissected Blake Lively's dramatic red carpet entrance, PR insiders whispered about backstage tension, and Twitter and Reddit buzzed with one question: what really happened at the Oscars? Conan's joke wasn't merely a jab at vanity, it was a spotlight on power, another line in a monologue dripping with Hollywood shade. But for those paying attention, it hit a nerve. Conan locked eyes with the camera, a sly smirk playing on his lips. "There's always that one actress who shows up like she's the reason we're all here," he said, and just like that, the room shifted, half in laughter, half in knowing tension. Not nominated, not presenting, yet somehow working harder than the camera crew. You know who I mean. The audience chuckled, but then came the line that shifted the room. I saw someone backstage pulling strings like it was the fashion Hunger Games, and let me tell you, the Capitol would be proud. Backstage, the laughter froze. This wasn't sarcasm, it was surgical. Every insider in the room knew the target. Blake Lively had arrived at the Oscars in full regalia, no film in competition, no official invitation to the stage, yet a media rollout timed to perfection. Camera angles preset, aura meticulously crafted. She didn't just attend, she occupied. With one sentence, Conan shattered the illusion. Wrapped in humor, his message was clear. This wasn't about fashion anymore. It was about control, presence, and the subtle unraveling of a brand that had long depended on everyone else staying silent.
And then for me right here, once again, beautiful.
Blake Lively wasn't a nominee. She wasn't presenting, had no film in competition, and wasn't tied to any of the night's major productions. Yet when she stepped onto the Oscars red carpet, she didn't just arrive, she took over. Draped in a custom couture gown that seemed to transform mid-stride, Blake was flanked by a polished entourage of stylists, publicists, and security. A dozen photographers had been tipped off in advance to capture her from every flattering angle. She timed her entrance to perfection, arriving 15 minutes before several A-list nominees, and the effect was immediate. Pre-show buzz shifted, cameras swiveled, all eyes locked on her. Strategic, said one red carpet organizer. Multiple sources confirmed that Blake's team had meticulously coordinated her timing with planned media breaks to maximize coverage. They didn't stop there. Her reps even requested photo exclusivity, ensuring top agencies prioritized her images above all else. It was as if she were hosting. One fashion reporter even tweeted, "Where are the actual nominees?" Backstage, the situation escalated. An insider revealed that Blake's team tried to alter the run of show. A red carpet no-no? The request? Shuffle the order so she wouldn't be overshadowed. The phrase allegedly used, "We need a moment. She is the moment." Bold, calculated, and, to many in the industry, over the line. While Blake dazzled under the flashbulbs outside, tension simmered behind the curtain. Multiple production insiders described an unusual level of interference from her team. It began with a last-minute ask. Blake wanted a presenting slot. She wasn't on the original lineup, but her publicist lobbied hard for a cameo or walk-on during the live broadcast. The Academy declined. Too late in the schedule, no space, a crew member said. Blake reportedly didn't take the rejection lightly. Witnesses say she appeared frustrated, pacing, glued to her phone, whispering to her team in the wings, like royalty denied her crown. One producer added that things escalated when her team requested a front-row seat, normally reserved for nominees and presenters, arguing it would yield better televised reaction shots. Denied again. Sources say she left her seat multiple times during the broadcast, whispering to ushers, asking when a spot closer to the A-listers might open up. She wasn't just attending, said one crew member. She was orchestrating the night. Blake was effectively managing her own Oscars campaign at a ceremony she wasn't officially part of. On screen, none of this was visible, but backstage, people were talking. Just days later, Conan O'Brien cracked a pointed joke about Hunger Games-style red carpet power grabs. It didn't come out of nowhere. It was a message rooted in first-hand accounts. According to sources from Conan's team, the line was added just hours before taping, after a friend of the show, who'd worked Oscars production, called in with the details. It wasn't gossip, one writer said. It was frustration. Others echoed similar accounts. A makeup artist overheard Blake's stylist demanding lighting adjustments, and a photographer's assistant claimed they were told to clear the frame if another celebrity wandered too close to Blake. One producer, speaking anonymously, said Conan's approach was calculated but fair. He knows where the lines are, and when he crosses one, it's for a reason. The audience laughed. Insiders nodded. The subtext was clear. The joke didn't just land, it pierced. The fallout was immediate. Within hours, social media lit up. Blake exposed Conan began trending on X. Fans dissected red carpet footage in slow motion, comparing timestamps and zooming in on facial expressions. One moment drew particular attention. Zendaya walked the carpet just minutes after Blake, seemingly avoiding eye contact. In another clip, Rachel Zegler, standing near Blake during a group press moment, subtly shifted away. Some called it a snub, others chalked it up to typical Hollywood choreography. Reddit threads dug deeper, noting that Blake seemed to appear out of nowhere, leapfrogging nominees who had reportedly been kept waiting. TikTok creators layered multiple video angles, highlighting just how much space Blake's team occupied on the carpet compared to everyone else. Then came the blogs. The Point One gossip newsletter claimed a prominent producer had privately thanked Conan for saying what everyone else was thinking. Another insider observed that Blake's once carefully curated image, effortless, unbothered, golden, was starting to unravel. For years, she had perfected the illusion of organic elegance, but now people weren't just watching how she walked in, they were watching who she walked over to get there.
Can we get away from Zendaya?
To some, it seemed like a simple misstep, a diva moment taken one beat too far. But for those paying attention, Conan's dig wasn't random. It fit a pattern, one whispered about for years in agency backrooms, styling trailers, and film set corridors. Behind the glitter of Blake Lively's brand was a quieter churn, rumors of solo press takeovers, last-minute collaborator removals, and whisper campaigns that conveniently aligned with her career wins. Conan's joke didn't land in a vacuum. It hit soil already cracked and dry. The Met Gala dominance, the sudden Dior deal, Hathaway's rumored campaign, the Fashion Week seat snub that saw Zendaya politely step aside, these moments had been quietly dissected online for years through fan threads, fashion insiders, and soft gossip. Now the puzzle pieces were clicking into place. And then Conan, with his trademark grin, leaned into the mic, paused for effect, and delivered the line that tied it all together. 30 seconds of humor, but 30 seconds that exposed a quiet, calculated undercurrent running through Hollywood's glittering facade. The room laughed, but insiders knew this was a spotlight aimed straight at power. The moment got a headline. Mainstream outlets picked up the scent, some posing seemingly innocent questions cloaked as fashion critique. Has Blake's style outpaced her screen credits? Others took a sharper tone. Oscars red carpet sparks debate. Is Blake Lively doing too much? The headlines were coded, but the meaning wasn't lost. Even fans began to hesitate. Why was Blake always center stage? Without a film, a nomination, or confirmed role in the conversation, Blake stayed silent. Any hope that Conan might walk it back vanished quickly. Days later, on his podcast, he revisited the moment, still unnamed. If your dress has its own zip code and your ego needs its own seat, he joked, maybe skip a year. His co-host chuckled. The crowd erupted, but in Hollywood, the message cut deeper. This wasn't about a gown. It was about what the gown symbolized: power, relevance, and the performance of importance. Conan hadn't just cracked a joke. He'd shown a spotlight. 20 lines of sharp, unspoken truth. He'd cracked the illusion, and worse, he'd made it acceptable to say what others had only whispered, that Blake's presence had grown performative, overbearing, exhausting. He didn't sound cruel, he sounded honest. In a town obsessed with image, honesty is dangerous. The Oscars are meant to honor the best in cinema, yet this year they revealed something else: the widening gap between persona and reality. Conan hadn't just scored a laugh, he'd given permission. Hollywood listened. Behind closed doors, the verdict was quietly shifting, and as Conan reportedly told a friend off mic, sometimes the person doing the most is the one who least needs to be. 20 lines of truth, sharp, unspoken, and unavoidable. It began with a laugh, but ended in a storm. During his post-Oscar segment, Conan O'Brien delivered a joke that didn't just land, it detonated. Known for his dry wit and sharp industry digs, Conan raised a single eyebrow and asked the question that froze Hollywood. Ever see someone show up to the Oscars like they're the main character when they weren't even on the call sheet? The crowd erupted in laughter, yet everyone knew exactly who he meant. No name needed. Within hours, the internet exploded. Fan forums dissected Blake Lively's dramatic red carpet entrance, PR insiders whispered about backstage tension, and Twitter and Reddit buzzed with one question: what really happened at the Oscars? Conan's joke wasn't merely a jab at vanity, it was a spotlight on power, another line in a monologue dripping with Hollywood shade. But for those paying attention, it hit a nerve. Conan locked eyes with the camera, a sly smirk playing on his lips. There's always that one actress who shows up like she's the reason we're all here, he said, and just like that, the room shifted, half in laughter, half in knowing tension.